Greetings world. We are anonymous.
President Donald Trump has requested an emergency telephone conference with President Putin in a last-minute plea to avoid a holy war in the Balkans, and who is joined in this effort by German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who unexpectedly rushed to meet Putin today. While at the same time the United States just issued an extraordinary travel warning stating that all of its citizens should avoid travel to Europe. The highly volatile Balkans region now stand on the brink of an unimaginable conflict due to the West's attempting to create a greater Albania state that Albania has vowed to create through war. Turkey is now urging war to create too, but Christian Orthodox Serbia has vowed to stop and warned that this effort will lead to a Great Balkan War. The Security Council in their previous report stated that the idea of a Greater Albania was launched in the late 1800s and was favored by Nazi Germany and Italy's fascist dictator Benito Mussolini during World War II, and was revived during the brief Macedonian Civil War in 2001, and is now being pursued by Albanian nationalists. The total number of Albanians in the Balkans amount to more than 8 million people, including 3 million in Albania itself, 1.5 million in Kosovo and Serbia, and over 500,000 in Macedonia, the Security Council previously noted, and whose push to create a Greater Albania Islamic State is being funded by the known German Nazi sympathizer George Soros and various other secret elements within the US government. Not being told the Western peoples about this conflict is that Russia now operates under the dictates of a holy war military doctrine to protect those of the Christian faith anywhere in the world they are being forced to edge of extermination that President Putin vowed to do in 2012, and who has deployed thousands of Federation military troops in Syria to back up, and where one of that nation's beleaguered Christians told the BBC News Service these chilling words: "Tell the Europeans and the Americans that we sent you St. Paul 2,000 years ago to take you from the darkness, and you sent us terrorists to kill us." To why the Europeans and Americans have declared a global war against Christians is due to the long history showing that peoples of this faith being are unable to be subjugated to communism, and is evidenced by the Soviet Union communists failing to eradicate Christianity from Russia after 70 years of brutal subjugation and destruction of nearly every Christian church in the country, under a Roman Catholic Church leader, Pope Francis, who adheres to communist values and Marxist ideology. However, the West is now seeking to accelerate its communization of its citizens, most particularly in the United States, where this past week the New York Times published a shocking indoctrination article extolling the virtues of communism titled "When Communism Inspired Americans," and its Democratic Party leader, Tom Perez, stating this week that his political organization would no longer support any candidate opposing the murder of babies in their mother's womb. To the success of the communist indoctrination agenda in the United States, though, it is showing the same results as what occurred in the former Soviet Union, where without Christian morality crime ran rampant, and is evidenced in America, where new reports show that 51% of this nation's murders are taking place in just 2% of its counties, all of which are leftist communist cities controlled by radical Democratic Party operatives. So horrific, in fact, has Christian morality broken down in these American Democratic Party communist strongholds. One of them, Baltimore, Maryland, has just appealed to President Trump's new government to save their city, but is not happening in the Democratic Party communist stronghold of Boston, Massachusetts, where one of its suburban judges this past week ordered the immediate release of an illegal migrant criminal who had brutally raped a young girl child before Trump's federal police could apprehend him. As to if the American people will be allowed to know how their Democratic Party is forcing a communist agenda upon their nation, remains highly doubtful due to complicity in the destruction of Christianity by the U.S. mainstream propaganda media that has become so outrageously biased against all true things. One of its most prestigious journalism schools, Northwestern University, now says it will no longer accept being accredited as teaching neutral values to its students. with the anti-Christian U.S. mainstream propaganda media, likewise, presently engaged in a lose-lose war against President Trump, and whose communist-inspired journalists are said to be prone to ignoring anything that doesn't match their ideology. They have failed to tell the American people that the allegations of Russia interfering with their 2016 presidential election was a completely made-up story devised by Hillary Clinton and her top campaign operatives in order to explain away her stunning defeat at the hands of President Trump, in a nearly single-handed effort, though, to avert World War III. The award-winning Hollywood film director Oliver Stone was given unprecedented access to President Putin to create a 4-part Showtime television series to tell the American people the truth about what is really happening in our world today, and that begins on Monday, the 12th of June, and will air for 4 consecutive nights.